So this is interesting. Geno Stone is now taking a pay cut. So he recently restructured Zach Moss's contract. He's taking less money, and he is staying on the team. And now we're doing the same thing with Geno Stone. So now Geno Stone's also going to be in that player pool who obviously we're keeping on the team, right? He got 1 year left of his contract. But we are getting more money with cap because he's taking a pay cut. So initially he was slated to make $6.475 million in 2025. He has now agreed to be making $4.9 million with $1.5 million guaranteed. So, we're saving money left and right. We're potentially going to most likely going to cut Jermaine Pratt based on reports. We restructured the contract with Zach Moss. Now we're restructuring the contract with our boy Geno Stone here. So at some point, what are we going to do with all this extra money? Because we're getting a lot of, extra money to work with. And I wonder if they're doing all this to try to work out a new contract with Trey Hendrickson, which right now is the rumored speculation. If they're thinking about going out there and signing someone else, maybe they're thinking about picking someone else up, because we're making moves, and I'm going to be interested to see what they end up doing. My hope is they're thinking about picking up, well, first of all, I want the contract done with Trey. That's ideal. The ideal is to get the contract done with Trey, get that over with, figure that out, and once you get that out, then you figure out everything else, okay? That's ideal. Now, I don't think the front office is going to do that, personally speaking. I think the front office very much likes to, kind of delay, procrastinate as they would. So I think that maybe they're just trying to free up space in general. But again, you would think they'd be trying to pick someone up. But again, who would they be picking up right now is the question. Me personally, I would say pick up one more safety, one more guard, and then you're pretty set on that. But again, like I said, who knows with the front office? They might be doing anything at this point. But taking a look at our salary cap situation. So this is before the restructure contract for Geno Stone. So he would be, let's go over to Geno Stone right here. Let's extend or renegotiate. And now his contract is going to be $4.9 million. So let me go ahead and do that. Actually, I'm not going to be able to. Okay, so I'm going to do a base salary here because I'm not going to be able to change this up as I can, realistically speaking here. So let's move that down. Okay, so this is what it's going to be in the end. Obviously, can't do the exact contract, but it's 4.9 cap hit. That's going to be his cap hit, which gets us up to $28.164 million. Not bad. Not a bad chunk of change. Again, and then once we go ahead and officially cut Jermaine Pratt, which we will in the foreseeable future, we would go ahead and go up to $34 million, depending on how we cut him and if we trade him or what goes on there. Post June 1st, obviously cut as well. So, yeah, we're going to be sitting at $34 million. So, they could restructure or extend Trey Hendrickson. Obviously, if they did extend Trey Hendrickson, his cap hit of $18.666 million would not change. He still would be making that much this year no matter what, because an extension would be adding on to his contract. So it would still be $18.666 million. So even if we extended him, that wouldn't change. So the cap hit this year, I see some people saying oh, maybe we're trying to get extra money to try to maybe extend Trey. Not really, because the cap hit this year doesn't matter, because he would still be sticking with the last year of his contract, but then getting an additional 4 some odd years added. So it wouldn't change anything for his cap hit this year. But I don't know. Maybe they're trying to sign somebody. I hope we do something at this point. I really do. I think that, again, I've said this many times, Brandon Sheriff and Will Hernandez, or Brandon Sheriff and Dalton Risner, I would not mind having 2 really decent, or really good, in my opinion, really good guards, veteran guards. Bring them in, have them there, have the young guys sit behind them and develop and learn, and let Scott Peters develop them so that when they are ready to come in, they are ready to be starters, they're already, developed and they know what they're doing, rather than trying to thrust, these rookies into starting lineups that causes problems. Again, I have a lot of faith in Scott Peters, I do. But at the same time, though, you want to always never count your chickens before they hatch, right? You want to have the ability to kind of sit back and let guys develop. Not every team has that ability because obviously sometimes you have to start the guy, right? Mims, last year, we had to start him. We didn't have the ability to sit back and relax. We had to go right at it and say, okay, now you're the starter. If we get an opportunity or give ourselves an opportunity to be able to kind of develop a guy, that's always the best bet. But tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. See you guys next one.